Hello, this is H.G. Tudor. I've created these responses to frequently asked questions in order to, one, give you the answers that you seek, and secondly, to save me repeating myself. So, first of all, why am I doing this? I like to write and record the material. Some of the material is my own, which I read out, so it's from blog articles that I have written, and other cases it is a more freestyle situation where I pick a subject and just talk about it, but all of it's my work. And I don't do this for the primary purpose of helping people, because I don't care. I do this because I want to be the number one resource for information about narcissism. My work is accurate. I know my kind. I know my kind inside out, and I know your kind as well. And as a consequence of my significant understanding, considerable intelligence, heightened awareness, the involvement of the good doctors also, I've accumulated a massive body of information, which I have considered, scrutinised, analysed, and have been conveying this and will continue to do so in order to establish a legacy for myself, to weaponise empaths around the world as it entertains me to do so, and of course fits with my idea of omnipotence. I also do this because at the beginning of my realisation as to what I was, I found that there was a lot of very poor information out there. There are some providers which provide reasonable information but don't get the whole picture, and there are others who actually propound dangerous thoughts, observations, so-called information about our kind where they get it completely wrong, and they make suggestions which are actually dangerous and injurious to people if followed. And I dislike intensely this lack of accuracy. And this is why, whenever comments appear, for instance, on my blog, which are wrong, I will explain why that is. If you have an opinion, you're entitled to make it, but understand, if it's well-founded, so for example, you might say, HG, you're a bastard, well, some of my behaviour could be viewed as that, so that's fair enough comment. But if you state that all narcissists know precisely what they're doing, you're wrong, and you will be corrected. And as a consequence of this considerable inaccuracy, that is part of the reason why I do this. 2. Am I not concerned that I'll have no victims left by the provision of this information? Well, no. There are 7 billion people on the planet. And much as I'd like to think that my material would permeate each and every individual that needs to know it, that just won't happen. And therefore, there are always going to be people who will not receive this information. There'll be those that receive it and won't be able to apply it because of their heightened emotional thinking. And ultimately, because I'm an ultra, I'll still be able to manipulate individuals. And their emotional thinking will cause them to lose sight of any information that they have lost when coming up against somebody such as I. So no, I'm not concerned about not having any victims left as a consequence of providing all of this information. It serves my purposes to provide it. Creates a legacy for me. It entertains me. I like to be creative in this regard. Question 3. How did I become a narcissistic psychopath? This was a consequence of a genetic predisposition and a lack of control environment that I grew up in, namely an abusive one. My mother is a narcissist. She is an upper mid-range narcissist. And there are other narcissists in my family that contributed to why I became what I am. Question 4. Why don't I change? I don't need to. I'm highly effective at what I do. My heightened awareness has made me all the more effective. I'm successful in my professional and private life. And for all those that point to the relationships of an intimate nature that did not succeed, I got out of them what was required and I move on unscathed. You must remember, I have no concept of remorse, no suggestion of guilt or conscience. And therefore, whilst I recognise the things that I do are deemed to be wrong, it does not impact on me in the way that it does upon you. I do what is right for me, and the things that I do that are right for me do, not always, but sometimes cause harm to other individuals. That is a collateral consequence of the achievement of my aims. The means always justify the ends. I have, as a consequence of the involvement of the good doctors and my increased awareness, looked at being more pro-social, and I have been putting that into place. Why? Because I see that that can benefit me. And as ever, if I see that there is a benefit to me, then I will utilise that route if it is the most effective one. Question 5. Where am I from? I live predominantly in the United Kingdom, but travel a lot around the world. Where am I from? Lots of different places originally. 6. How do I know all kinds of narcissists so well? Well, as I have explained, I'm an ultra, which is the heightened form of a greater. And I know myself inside out because of what I am and because of the involvement of my scrutiny, study, and the involvement of the good doctors. Therefore, the mindset of other greaters, I understand. With regard to lesser and mid-range narcissists, I have encountered them throughout my life, within family, within friends, socially, the workplace, in business. And therefore, having observed and scrutinised them and listened to the way that they talk, the things that they say, and thought about it and discussed it further with professionals also, this enabled me to have significant insight, understanding into the way the mind of the narcissist works across all three schools, and of course you benefit from that. Question 7. How do you know so much about empaths? Quite simply, one must know the enemy in order to conquer them. I make it my business to know the way that my enemy thinks, the way my opponent acts, the reasoning behind it. Again, I have interacted with empaths all throughout my life. Again, in family, romantically, socially, business, etc. And I've observed their behaviours too. I've listened to them. I listen to what they say about my behaviour. I listen to the way they talk about how they feel. I observe how they feel. And as a very intelligent man, I've applied the application of my observations, what I hear, what I've seen, consider it, reflect on it, analyse it, and then distill it and utilise it as part of my work. Question 8. Is this your real voice? Yes, it is. No, I don't use any kind of software to distort my voice. In some of the early recordings, the microphone was not perhaps as effective as this one that I'm talking through now, and that resulted in a degree of distortion which was not intentional, and of course occasionally adversely affected the sound quality, and a superior microphone was obtained. There are occasions, of course, when I'm on the road that I don't have access to the superior equipment that I ordinarily utilise, and if I do happen to provide some recordings when I'm on the road, that results in the recording quality perhaps being less effective as it ordinarily would be. But yes, this is my voice. And for those that think that I am actually a woman, no, I'm not. I am a man, and the voice you hear is my voice. Those that consult with me will attest to that also. Number 9, how am I so aware? Well, part of it is the fact that that is who I am. I was born with a degree of awareness, which of course came as I grew older, so it's genetic, and also it's linked with my high level of intelligence, but also the fact that I have embraced knowledge. I have a huge appetite for it. I'm inquisitive and curious by nature, and I listen and I observe and I apply it all. However, I have to accept that I am still a narcissistic psychopath, and therefore there are elements of my behaviours that I have to be blind to and that I may not notice. But I'm aware of a huge percentage of what I do, why I do it, why I say the things I do, and how I behave. Finally, number 10. How can I ask further questions of UHG? Well, if you have questions about your own situations where you need help, if you want to conquer your emotional thinking, if you want to get away and stay away from the narcissist, if you want to know what type of narcissist you're dealing with, if you want to know about how you can date safely in the future, if you want to understand why the narcissist said this or said that, or did this or did that, I can help you with all of that. Please understand, in order to do this, I need a lot of information from you, and I need to impart a lot of information from you. It has to be right, and it has to be accurate. And I don't like giving half-baked answers to people based upon a lack of information and also a lack of time, because I have huge pressures on my time, so that I'm not always in a position to receive the information from you because you've not provided it in a question or comment on a social media platform, and my response must be detailed in order to get it right for you. We both benefit in that respect. So consequently, that is why I devised the consultations, so that you can have access on a guaranteed basis to my expertise. Yes, there's a cost associated with it, but experts cost. Your doctor doesn't work for you for free, nor does your dentist or your lawyer. And believe me, I'm far cheaper than a repeated course of therapy. You'll see the testimonials at narcissist.com, which attest to how effective my consultations are. You've nothing to fear from interacting with me. It's entirely confidential. I've no interest in my readers or listeners or clients other than delivering to them the answers that they require to assist them. If you have other questions, you can ask them on social media platforms. Because of the pressures on my time, the main platform where I tend to answer questions is on my blog, which is at narcissist.com. Occasionally you'll get answers on YouTube, and I select those which are on Thank Tudor It's Friday to provide answers. As to the other platforms, they are feeder platforms, and I'm not in a position to dedicate time to answering questions on those. So please do not think that you're being ignored. It's purely time pressure. If you spend time reading through the articles, listening to the videos, you'll find a lot of answers already there. But as I say, if you have a burning issue, either just about narcissism generally or by reference to your own circumstances, the appropriate thing to do is to arrange a consultation with me. You can also email me, and if you have a short question, I usually do answer it for you, as and when I have time to do so, but lengthier questions have to go to consultations, and my email address is narcissist1909@gmail.com. That's narcissist1909@gmail.com. And this ends the frequently asked questions. Thank you.